What's up, everybody? We're back at the Aria playing some 5-10, and occasionally the $20 strato is going to be on. And for one of the first hands of the night, I wake up with the best starting hand in poker, pocket aces in early position. This time the strato is not going to be on, it's just going to be a 5-10 game, and under the gun does put in a limp. I do decide to ISO and bump it up all the way to $40. Low jack puts in the call, and then it folds all the way around, and big blind puts in the call, and then the limper, of course, with having such good odds, they're going to be putting in the call as well. So we're going to be going four ways to a flop of Queen 6-5 Rainbow. Big blind puts out the check. The undergun limp puts in the check as well, and being multi-way here, I'm still going to be betting here with pocket aces. It's a rainbow board, obviously just hoping somebody has a queen of some sort. Hopefully nobody does have a set of sixes or fives already, but yeah, we're going to be going for it. We put out a bet of $50. Player in low jack puts in the call. Big blind folds, and the under the gun limp actually comes along with the call too. So this time we're only going to be going three ways to a turn, and it comes the king of clubs. Not the best card that I want to see. Obviously now somebody can have king queen, and that means they're going to have two pair. So I do have to be a little bit careful here, but I could really well still have the best hand with pocket aces. The under the gun limp does put in the check. And I decide to continue my story here just to make sure and see where I'm at. I want somebody else to take over the action and the aggression here. So I do put out a bet of $200. And then unfortunately, the opponent to my left, actually, they start grabbing more chips than 200. Not exactly what I want to see. And I see them load up the bet. They make it $500 to go. And the under the gun limp does fold. And now I'm facing with a tough decision. Like I said, they can have sets. They can also already have two pair. Really rough spot for me here. And even with the king of clubs coming on the turn, it is a rainbow board. So no flush draws out there to worry about. Something that's really important as well. But yeah, with only 500 to go, I could hit my set of aces on the river. So we're not going anywhere yet. We're going to be flicking in the call, and we go to a river, and it comes the four of spades. My opponent was actually calling for a four, and now the four comes, but they've been calling for fours the whole night, even though we just started. But yeah, they've been calling for fours the whole night and day. And yeah, I mean, the four comes, but that doesn't really help them. I mean, yeah, it doesn't really do anything. But yeah, I do put in the check, and they actually asked me how much I wanted them to bet. And I said something like, I forgot what I said, like 130 or 230, something like that. So instead of them betting 130, they actually make it 1030 on the river. And yeah, I just pretty much, I go into the tank a lot here, and just sitting here with pocket aces. And sadly, unfortunately, you know, I did break down a hand, and like I told you guys and girls at home, that yeah, they're gonna have a lot of sets, they're gonna have a lot of two pair, they raised on turn in position. But yeah, even with that being said and all of that, I mean, this player did seem more like they were just, you know, playing for fun. So I thought, hey, maybe they can possibly find some random bluff here, you know. That's what I thought. Or maybe they just are still betting a hand that I beat. That's what I really thought. And yeah, thought process was just completely wrong. I was right about the sets and two pairs and stuff like that, but I just wasn't right about just finding a fold. The aces is just not going to be good here too often in this exact spot, four ways and stuff like that. But yeah, eventually I do flick in the call, and my opponent, they turn it over. I see the bad news. They had the ladies. That is something I did not expect to lose to. So they didn't 3-bet pre. I mean, I guess lucky for me, we would have just got it in, and I would have just got stacked. So I guess it worked out for me to lose less chips. But yeah, I'm really disappointed with my call in the river. Not a good way to start off this session again at the Aria. Let's try to pick it up from here. And for the second hand of the night, I wake up with pocket jacks, the JJs, red jacks, in roughly early / middle position. There is once again no straddle on this hand, and under the gun does put in a limp. I decided to put in the ISO once again, the same exact size I just did the previous hand with pocket aces. We make it $40 to go. And once again, this time middle position is going to be put in the call. Button is going to be put in the call. And it's going to fold all the way around to the limp. And once again, they have good odds, so they're just going to be flicking it in. So we're actually going to be going four ways to a flop once again of 4, 4, ace, 2 hearts. And not the best flop for pocket jacks. Obviously, I'm already pretty much dead to a 4, and I'm dead to an ace. It could come running hearts for me to have a jack high flush, but it's not going to be too often I can even get to the river with this being a flop already. But let's see what we can do. The under the gun limp does put in a check. Now I decide this time to still c-bet to see where I'm at. I do just make it $40 to go. Not really a big wager here in relative to the pot size, so it's all right. And after I do make this bet, unfortunately, the person that did flat in middle position does put in the raise in position to $120, and it does fold all the way around to me. So button does fold and the limp folds, and I'm not going to be going anywhere yet. It is kind of weird here because, you know, I obviously know that I am 100% dominated, 100% beat. They're just going to have a 4 or a really strong ace at this point. And yeah, but I mean, I'm not going to go anywhere yet. Let's see if we can jack them on the turn. So I do, with only $80 more, I decide to flick in the call. We go to a turn, and it comes my lady, the queen of diamonds. I do put in a check, and my opponent is continuing their story that they really have a strong hand. They put out a bet of $210, and once I see the chips hit the middle, I immediately muck my cards. Nothing I can do with pocket jacks. Not going to be continuing here with third pair, praying that I hit a jack on the river. So we're going to take 2 L's in a row. Let's move on to the next hand. And apparently this is just a session of pocket pairs. We look down and we have pocket 7s in the big blind. For this hand, there is no straddle once again. Low jack actually puts in the limp, and then it folds all the way around to small blind. They're going to be putting in a limp, and with pocket 7s here, I decide, you know what? I'm trying to get this pot to at least only be heads up. I don't want to go 3 ways to a flop here. I want to build a pot just in case I hit a set, or I can just take it down against one opponent. So yeah, we're going to ISO. We're going to bump it up in big blind all the way up to $60. My opponent in low jack actually comes along with the call, and small blind actually thinks about it for like 10-20 seconds, but they say, you know what? They don't want to play a pot out of position, so they lay it down. So we're going to be going heads up to a flop of 7, 6, 5, 2 spades. Love to see it. We flop top set. Let's hope our opponent just has bottom set, middle set. Just don't have some random 9-8 suited for a straight here. But even if they do, we can always bolt up if the board pairs on the turn or the river. And this time around, with that board being very, 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 very scary here, I do decide to put out a check, even though I do already have a set. And with that check, I do get my wish. My opponent puts out a bet of $80. This is exactly what I wanted, because you know what time it is. We were preparing for the check rizzle, and we bump it up all the way to $270. A massive check rizzle here. We got to make sure we charge our opponent for anything they want to call with, and we are trying to stack them out of river. So let's build up this pot. And with that bet being put out, my opponent thinks about it for maybe 10-20 seconds, and they don't put in a 3-bet in position, but they do put in a call. So we're going to be going to the turn, and it comes a rubber ducky. You hit a 1, a blank, a 2 of clubs. Best card I can possibly see. That doesn't help anybody here. They're not going to have pocket deuces. I'm not going to have pocket deuces. Nobody going to have any deuce in their hand unless maybe my opponent has like ace 2 suited or something like that. King 2 of spades. Something along that line. So maybe they have a pair in a flush draw now. But I'm still sitting pretty good here with my set. And I'm not going to be slowing down here after putting in that check rizzle. We're loading up the clip. And I grab my chips, and I'm going to be putting out a massive bet of $470, preparing to set up for that river jam. And my opponent thinks about it for a little bit, and they are still going to be coming along with the call. And we go to the river, and it comes a very sad 3 of clubs, possibly one of the worst rivers I could see. Well, actually the worst river I could see would have been a 3 of spades. So it's kind of bad. Obviously, if my opponent has some 4x, they just made a straight, like ace 4 suited, etc. So, or king 4 suited. So really rough spot for me here. And with that 3 completing the 4, you know, the 4 card straight there, I actually think about it for maybe a minute or so going into the tank, and I said, you know what, I'm not going to be putting in a bet here. I'm not going to be going all in. I'm actually going to just check here. It's really hard for me to put a bet here. I could actually have a straight here sometimes based on me ISO and pre, but yeah, this time around with having a set here, I just kind of more so want to get to showdown, you know? So I do put in a check. And unfortunately, wanted to get to showdown. It's not going to happen here. My opponent goes in the tank for maybe 30 seconds. And yeah, they are going to be going all in for $1,100. But this is exactly what I wanted them to do. This was my plan all along. That's the reason I didn't bet. I take a quick peek at my hand to make sure that I did have a set. I flick in the call with the yellow chip, and my opponent turns over ace 10 of spades. I flip over my set, and we obviously take it down. What a beautiful fucking play by me there, by checking on the river and not going all in. Love to see it. Basically got maximum value for this hand, and we managed to stack our opponent. And what do you think about my line there? Did you like it? Would you have played this hand different? If so, let me know in the comments below. And for the next hand here at the hour, I'm going to wake up with King 6 offsuit, but we're going to be playing a bomb pot. And for this hand, we're actually going to be 6 ways. Each player is going to be putting in $40. And I love at the Aria that they don't like doing the double board. They just like doing the single board here. Love to see it. It has just been way better doing the single board in these bomb pots, in my opinion. So we're going to go 6 ways to a flop of King 10 and 9, 2 spades. We do hit top here. Weak kicker. Obviously, a lot of people could have some random 2-pair combinations. Straights are already there. So yeah, we do have to tread cautiously. And for this hand, I'm actually in small blind. So I'm actually going to be starting out with the check. And surprisingly, on the flop, it actually just checks all the way around. Love to see it. I have top here and it's checking all the way around. That's beautiful. Let's go to a turn. And we go to it, and it comes the 6 of spades. So now I do have 2 pair, but obviously the flush just got there. So if somebody is playing very cautious with their flush, then yeah, they just have a flush now on the turn. Cautious with their flush draw, of course, not their flush. But yeah, even with that coming in, I am going to be putting out a bet because I figured that maybe somebody would have just bet multi-way with their flush draw at some point. So yeah, I'm actually going to put out a bet here. I do make it $120 to go. So not really a big bet relative to what's in the pot here. And it does fold all the way around to somebody in middle position, and they do put in a call. So we're actually going to be going heads up to the river, and it comes the 8 of clubs. Not really a good river, obviously. Now we're losing to a flush and a 7-card straight, a 4-card straight. Yes, not a 7-card straight. I'm wilding, right? But basically I did say 7-card straight because I'm losing to the actual 7 in the deck. But yeah, with that bad river coming, I'm just going to be checking here, hoping my opponent checks back. We're trying to get to showdown, and when I do check, they do check back. I show my 2 pair, and they pretty much muck. And now we take down 2 pots in a row. Love to see it. Love winning these bomb pots. So much just dead money in the middle. Love to see it. And next hand for tonight, we wake up with 10-9 suited of diamonds. Diamonds are forever. We love this suited variety here. And finally, for the love of God, the straddle has finally put on. Took the whole day for it to finally be on at the Aria, which is very surprising because usually the straddle is almost always on. So yeah, for this hand, it does fold around to me in hijack, and I actually open up to $50. Does fold all the way around to big blind, and looks like they're not even just going to be putting in a flat. They're actually going to be putting in the 3-bet. They make it $210 to go. The straddle does fold, and with 10 out of diamonds, we got to see a flop, of course. Come on, just way too strong of a hand. In position, we love some suited connectors, so we're going to be flicking in the call, and we're going to be going heads up to a flop of 10-6-5 rainbow. Really good flop for me here. I do flop top here, but it's not the best kicker. Have to tread carefully here. My opponent could have jacks, queens, kings, aces. They can even have a 10x that they 3-bet that is actually better than mine, so I could really be behind here. And to start out, my opponent does continue their story being a pre-flop aggressor. They're going to be putting out a bet. They make it $120 to go. And of course, we're not going to be going anywhere yet. We can also hit backdoor diamonds for a flush. So we're looking pretty good here. I'm going to be flicking in the call. So we're going to be going to a turn, and it comes the 6 of hearts. Really good turn for me here. I'm actually going to have more 6x than my opponent. They're not going to be 3-betting too many combinations of cards with 6x, so looking pretty good here. And surprisingly, even though I do have more of that in my range, they said, fuck it. They still have the best hand. Fuck that middle card pair. They're going to be loading up the clip. And they put out a bet of $440. And with the 6 coming on the turn, obviously I can't go anywhere yet because a 10 could come on the river. And then I boat up. And I would pretty much have the nuts because they can't have pocket 10s unless they just have pocket 6s for quads, or no, that's not gonna happen anyway. So yeah, we're not gonna be going anywhere yet. We're gonna be flicking in the call once again, and then we're finally gonna be going to the river, and it comes the 4 of clubs, pretty much brick city on this board. I'm hoping my opponent does check, and they think about it for like 20 seconds. They finally do put in a check, and no reason for me to bet here. We're just having a 10 weak kicker, of course. I check back. My opponent shows ace-3 of diamonds, and I table my hand, and we do take down that pot. I guess I am lucky that diamonds were not forever, because if the flush came, yeah, we would be getting stacked by the nut flush here, ladies and gentlemen. And just like I said before, it's just going to be a video of pocket pairs. We wake up with black 10s on the button. And this time the strato is going to be on again. And it does fold around to low jack, and they're going to be opening up to $60. Does fold all the way around to me on the button. And this time, not going to be putting in a 3-bet. I do elect to just flat. And it does fold all the way around to the straddle, and they're going to be putting in a call. So we're actually going to be going 3 ways to a flop of king, 7, 8, 3 clubs, monotone board, and I do have the 10 of clubs in my hand. So I am drawing to basically the 4th nuts, because obviously I would lose to the ace of clubs, queen of clubs, and the jack of clubs with the 10 high flush. But yes, that's a really good position to be in. And the strato, of course, not being a pre-flop aggressor, they put in the check. And my opponent in low jack actually puts out a bet of $100. This is roughly 50% of the pot. Not going to be going anywhere. We're going to be flicking in the call. And the strato is actually going to be putting in the fold. So that's very nice. This is going to be heads up now. Going to the turn. And it comes the 7 of spades. So the board does pair now. If I hit a 10 on the river, that's going to be a boat. Let's see what my opponent decides to do. And looks like they are not slowing down. They're still going to be putting out a bet, roughly $220. Once again, a 50% or so pot bet. So I'm not going to be going anywhere yet. Obviously, I lose to a king and a flush. But like I said, we have the 10 of clubs. We can hit a 10. We are drawn to a decent amount of outs in the world. Not the most outs in the world. But yeah, can't fold yet to this size. And we're going to be putting in a call. We go to a river, and it comes my lady, the queen of hearts. Would have loved to just see the queen of clubs here. Obviously, because then we would have almost the 3rd nuts. Obviously, not counting boats. Just mainly talking about flushes. And my opponent is loading up the triple barrel. I cannot even believe out of position they are triple barreling into me. Wish I just had a hand here, and they make it $350 to go. And it's just nothing I can do here with pocket 10s. Obviously, I just don't have the best hand. If they're bluffing here, very good bluff by them. But yeah, just odds are, just feel like I'm pretty much going to lose here. Almost always. So yeah, just got to lay it down, and we're going to be moving on to the next hand. And for this hand, we're going to have another bomb pot. We do wake up with 7-3 offsuit in middle position. This bomb pot is once again going to be 6 ways. We each put in $40. So we're going to be going 6 ways to a magical flop of 4, 6, 3, 2 spades. Looking pretty good here. I do have a pair of 3s, have the 7 of spades. Maybe I could see a 4 and 5 of spades for the straight flush. I mean, that would be pretty nice. Haven't made a straight flush this entire year, so made one last year. But yeah, that's besides the point. At least we're drawing to these semi kind of nuts if we can hit a 5 at least with the 4 card straight. So let's see how this hand is going to play out. And a couple of people do check, but somebody in middle position actually puts out a bet of $50. I'm going to be putting in a call, and it's going to be 2 more people actually putting in a call. In the button, and big blind is the last person to come along with the call. So we're actually going to be going 4 ways to the turn. Surprisingly, in a bomb pot, this usually doesn't happen. But yeah, we're going 4 ways to the turn, and it comes the 8 of diamonds. Just kind of missed that straight. But yeah, let's see if we can still somehow hit it on the river. Hopefully we can get to it cheaply. And surprisingly, on the turn with 4 people, I guess nobody really liked the 8 of diamonds. It actually checks all the way around. Love to see it. We get to see the river for free. And we go to it, and it comes the 5 of clubs. Very nice river. Spades bricked out, diamonds bricked out. We are pretty much only losing to 7-9 here, so pretty good. Love to see it. And Big Blind does put in a check, and with having a straight here, I don't want this to check down, obviously, so I do put out a small wager. I make it $150 to go. The other person that was in middle position with me, they actually fold. Button comes along with the call, and Big Blind just has a tough decision. They think about it, but they're just going to be laying down their cards. So they do fold, and I turn over the straight, and person on button actually turns over a straight as well. So we're just going to be chopping everybody's money at the table, but this is still pretty good, reasonable result. I mean, we just chopped like anywhere close to $150 to $200 in this pot. Pretty good. Not going to complain here with this W. Finally, I get to play a non-pocket pair hand. I mean, half of the hands in this video have been pocket pairs, but hey, let's get to it. We wake up with ace jack suited of diamonds in middle position. This time the straddle is not going to be on. Under the gun actually comes in with the limp. I guess these people just don't see the straddle on and they just like limping. I don't know. They should know by now what's coming when it folds around to me. I'm in middle position. I'm ISOing it up. I make it $50 this time to go. So I did add an extra $10 this time around as I was playing a little bit deep with said opponent that limped. But actually the person to my left, also in middle position, decides to put in a 3-bet. They make it $150 to go, 3x my ISO size. It does fold all the way back around to the person who limped, and I guess they're not limping aces here. They actually do pretty much immediately muck their cards, and I'm like, all right, here it is. It's time to battle. Let's flick in the call. So we could be going heads up to a flop of Queen 7-4, 2 diamonds. Love to see it. We got the lady diamond on the flop. Hopefully diamonds are forever and we can find it on the turn or the river to have the nut flush. And I do start out with a check. My opponent continues their story that they have a really strong hand here, being a pre-flop aggressor, and they put out a bet of $150, a little bit less than half of the pot, and not going to be going anywhere yet, of course, drawing to the nuts. We flick in the call. We go to a turn and it comes the 3 of diamonds. Diamonds are forever. We turn the nut flush, and this time around I think about it being in this 3-bet pot and I'm like, if there were ever a good time to start donking, this is gonna be it. We're leading here. We're putting out a donk. I make it $200 to go, and my opponent immediately goes into the tank. They're like, what the fuck is this? What does this even mean? But yeah, this time around, I am just donking with the stone cold nuts. And after 30 seconds or so, my opponent decides, hey, I still have a strong hand. They're going to be flicking in the call, which is exactly what I wanted. We go to the river, and it comes the 5 of clubs. Really rough river here. Obviously the 4 card straight is now there if I did have a 6 in my hand, but obviously I don't have that. I just have the stone cold nuts. Don't see my opponent having much 6s here. Maybe they could have something like pocket 6s with the 6 of diamonds. That is a possibility, but if they did, I mean, I would love it. I mean, I have the nuts here. Not really afraid of anything. So yeah, we're still leading. We're continuing the story that we have a really strong hand. And this time we actually do. So I load up the clip and I put out a bet of $670. My opponent does think about it for like 20 seconds or so, but they do lay it down. I'm not going to complain here. I still won a pretty decent sized pot in this 3-bet pot. Love to see it. And for this hand, we're going to wake up with the best drawing hand, people love to call it in poker, Ace King offsuit and a low jack. Strato is not going to be on this time. It is going to fold around to me, and I'm going to put it out and open to $30. Hijack actually puts in the 3-bet directly to my left to $100. Surprisingly, it does fold around to the button, and they're going to be putting in the 3-bet call. And not only was that surprising enough, it folds to the big blind, and they're going to be putting in a 3-bet call. And I'm just sitting here with Ace King like, okay, hold up, everybody. I know we are playing pretty deep, but there's no way in hell I'm going to be putting in a flat here. So I do tank for a little bit, and I think about my 4-bet size in here. And even though I am going to be putting in a massive 4-bet, Now looking back at it, and even once I put the chips in the middle, I did not like my sizing. I did make it $440 to go. I do not think I needed to go this big in order to accomplish getting my opponents to fold. I would have loved to see myself go a little bit lighter, but hey, we're here now with $440 in the middle. And after that bet, you know, I'm just hoping to just take down the $300 of dead money that's in the middle. And yeah, my opponent to my left, apparently they have other plans. They're counting out the 440 and they're counting out more chips, and I do not like where this is going. And my opponent finally announces they're going to be all in for almost $2,000 after they do go all in. Button folds and big blind folds. And now I'm here with a very, very tough decision. You have to think about this spot, ladies and gentlemen. The straddle was not on. The straddle was not on. So that means this is a 200 big blind jam. That is what this is. This is not a 100 big blind jam. This is a 200 big blind jam. My 4-bet was 44 big blinds. And yeah, this is the price I have to pay for 4-betting so big. If I 4-bet smaller, they would have still went all in and I would have saved some money. So it's a really rough spot here. And I'm thinking about it and I'm like, okay, 200 big blinds at the Aria, just not even just being at the Aria, just being at any casino. It is really hard for people to get it in 200 big blinds kind of like. It just rarely happens. Occasionally it happens, but that's why I said really, right? So I think about it for like a minute or so, to be completely honest, and I say, fuck it. I'm laying down my cards. I actually fold ace king face up. Face up. And I did ask my opponent what they had, and they actually said we would have been flipping, so I assumed they pretty much just had pocket queens. That's all right. It's okay to fold this spot if we were just gonna flip, but obviously I would have just loved to flip against the ladies. I mean, I would have won anyway, right? It's my favorite hand, but yeah, just have to just lay this down, unfortunately, it being a 200 big blind jam. Let me know in the comments below if you would have actually stacked off there with ace king for $2,000, 200 big blinds, or would you have actually folded, or maybe you would have never even put in the 4-bet. Maybe you would have flatted and then taken it 4 ways. Let me know which option you would have chose in the comments below. And that was a very fun session. Feel like I played very well, and the results for that, I end up only losing $10. I'll take it. It's just a break-even session at the Aria. And if you like that session, make sure you check out this session here where I lose the second most money I've ever lost in a poker session playing here in Vegas at the Wynn.